Carrie Chris is 6 p.m. Time for CBX Business News. The Business News headlines is brought to you by CBX Wealth Management, making more possible. Hello and welcome to CBX Business News for Friday, June 6, 2025. I'm Yanil Wood. I hope you had a productive week. Thank you for joining us. What's coming up in our local news? Jamaica is too rich to be poor, says Fosrich CEO. Meanwhile, Fosrich partners with leading financial institutions to offer green energy solutions to manufacturers. And TAJ targets delinquent property owners in special enforcement drive. In regional business news, leadership crisis at Angostura Limited as entire board resigns amid political pressure. Meanwhile, Ghana's annual oil reserves to hit US $10 billion by 2030, says ExxonMobil. And the Bahamas government to launch modern digital tax systems in 2026. In international business news, U.S. wage growth beats expectations amid slowing job gains. Meanwhile, Eurozone growth doubles forecast to 0.6% in Q1, fueled by Ireland and Germany. And FAO reports global food prices fell 0.8% in May as cereal and vegetable oil costs drop. Stay with us. The news in detail right after this break.
Wealth is not simply counted in dollars or cents, but in the time we spend with love, in love, giving love. Wealth is not simply a means to an end. It is the means to live out loud. Wealth is more than money. It's about family, the memories you create, the legacy you leave behind, and your ability to enjoy life in the moment. It's also about seeing the QMAX possibilities and seizing investment opportunities to achieve the future you want and deserve. Which is why QMAX Wealth will focus on your investments so you can experience more. Because true wealth is truly more. To start investing today, call 876-926-7767.
Me grew up and see my granny and save her money under her mattress.
Exactly. Your grandmother house never burned down?
No, how you reach this, so? That was a one-off thing.
That could have happened to anybody. That's why you must put your money in a financial institution and protect it.
What if the bank crash?
Well, that's where JDIC comes in.
What you mean?
JDIC is a financial safety net which provides coverage for your money in case your financial institution fails.
Explain that to me.
Alright, because of the JDIC deposit insurance scheme, once you put your money into a financial institution like a bank or building society, you can get coverage of up to a maximum of $1.2 million per deposit of your financial institution if it should fail. And for even more information, you can visit their new website at www.jdic.org, and you can follow the social media platforms for the latest information.
JDIC, protecting deposits for you and me.
The local news is brought to you by Derriman Trading, better from the start. Development Bank of Jamaica, facilitating economic growth and development. Caribbean flavors and fragrances, tease the senses. And Pulse Investments.
Alphabet down 6, Microsoft down 5.
Welcome back. Thanks for staying with us. And now the details of CBX Business News.
I have a lot of things to say about Jamaica, you know. We are too rich to be poor, you know that? Seriously. We wait too long. We are always the last mover.
That was Cecil Foster, CEO of Fosrich Company Limited, one of Jamaica's leading lighting, electrical and solar company, speaking at the Fosrich and Partners Energy Expo held at the Jamaica Pegasus Hotel on Thursday. Mr. Foster made a passionate appeal to the business community, urging companies to take advantage of the green energy loan offered by the Development Bank of Jamaica in partnership with First Global Bank. This facility is designed to help manufacturers and other businesses finance the purchase of renewable energy systems. He also emphasized the importance of leveraging this government-supported financing.
If you have a shortfall, that you need coverage, you need collateral coverage, there is a safety net. The DBJ will give you that at a long term, 10 years.
In the meantime, the Fosrich CEO explained the rationale behind the partnership with DBJ and First Global.
Are pleased to partner with Jamaica's finest institutions. The DBJ is the arm of the government, and the government has said clearly that they want to get 50% of the energy source in Jamaica, the renewables, by 2030. I think we have to hurry up, and that is why we are speaking to you directly, because the solution that we are bringing to you has 4 legs.
He provided a breakdown of the 4 components of the solution being offered to both manufacturers and residents by Fosrich and its partners.
Think about a table with 4 legs. 1 is called pain. That is the pain that the manufacturers are feeling. 2, the other leg is called engineering solutions. That's what Fosrich brings to the discussion. And 3, the global product partners. That's what Fosrich has sourced and has brought to the table. But there's 1 leg missing, right? Smart. So the financing was always the problem. And so the table was never ever, standing straight. And so today we have the financing. And that has brought, Mr. Gavin Lowe, the solution that you can't turn away from. If you decide not to, it is at your own peril.
Mr. Foster is urging interested parties to act now with up to $400 million available through the Green Energy Loan.
Our manufacturers think that the solution is yours. It is said that you only act when the pain that you are feeling is greater than the pain that you will feel. Think about it. So make sure that the pain that you're feeling is going to move you to make sure that you don't feel that pain going forward. So the access to your solution is right here. Most of the projects that you will do, I think, will fall between $4 million and $400 million. And so you're covered. And recently, there were rates of 13-14%. You can't fuss too much about 8.5%, can you?
CEO of Fosterage Company Limited, Cecil Foster. Tax Administration Jamaica TAJ is encouraging all delinquent property owners to make outstanding payments to avoid enforcement action. This comes as the administration, in collaboration with the Portmore and Spanish Town municipal corporations, will be conducting a property tax special enforcement operation. In a release on Thursday, TAJ says the operation will be targeting residents in Caribbean Estate and Phoenix Park Phase 1 in Portmore from June 6 to 8, and Angels Estate, Angels Grove, Frenchman's Heights, and Green Acres in Spanish Town from June 27 to 29. This initiative forms part of ongoing efforts to improve compliance and collect outstanding property taxes. During the operation, enforcement teams will visit delinquent property owners to serve final notices, urging them to settle their arrears or face further compliance action. Deputy Commissioner of Operations at TAJ, Dave Jeffrey, says property tax is a key revenue stream. This joint enforcement effort is not just about compliance, but also about celebrating those who consistently do the right thing, as he emphasized the importance of the initiative. Meanwhile, taxpayers are reminded that property tax payments can be made through several channels, including TAJ's website at jamaicatax.gov.jm, TAJ mobile app, and via NCB online banking. After September 30, TAJ will take enforcement action against residents in the impacted communities who have not made a payment arrangement. The authority will explore options such as garnishing residents' salaries and bank accounts, seizing other motor vehicles, rather seizing their motor vehicles, and placing liens on their properties. And from TAJ, we go to BOJ for foreign currency trading news. At the end of currency trading on Friday, the US dollar is selling for $160.34, the Canadian for $119.24, and the pound sterling for $217.47, while $183.49 is the going rate for the euro. Up next, news from the Jamaica Stock Exchange. 107 stocks traded on the JSE Friday, of which 48 advanced, 38 declined, and 21 traded firm. Leading the winners were First Rock Real Estate Investments US Dollar, the Limners and Bards, A.S. Bryden & Sons Holdings, and Iron Rock Insurance Company, while the losers were led by Jamaica Public Service Company 7%, Caribbean Flavors and Fragrances, Paramount Trading Jamaica, and 138 Student Living Jamaica Variable Preference. Now the main index advanced by 1,347.17 points, or 0.42%, to close at 322,306.90. The junior market index, however, suffered a decline by 40.19 points, or 1.16%, to close at 3,424.88. And it's time for Market Education Feature, brought to you by CariCris, Regional Ratings, Global Standard. In today's Market Education Feature, we'll be taking a look at the term ecotourism. Ecotourism is a sustainable form of travel that emphasizes responsible visits to natural environments, aiming to protect ecosystems and support the well-being of local communities. It fosters environmental awareness and seeks to reduce negative impacts on nature while actively contributing to conservation initiatives. By highlighting the value of preserving natural landscapes and cultural traditions, ecotourism supports. The Market Education Feature was brought to you by CariCris, Regional Ratings, Global Standards. And that's it for Market Education Feature and the end of the local segment. Please stay with us. The regional business news is up next.
Alphabet down 6, Microsoft down 5.
The local news is brought to you by Derriman Trading, better from the start. Development Bank of Jamaica, facilitating economic growth and development. Caribbean flavors and fragrances, tease the senses, and Pulse Investments.
If it were not for the Jamaica Stock Exchange listing, Phosphate Company Limited would not be where it's at today.
FESCO started from 5 shareholders who believe that they could execute a fuel company as good as or as better than any multinational.
Caribbean flavors and fragrances. I have seen that our company has expanded tremendously after being listed.
Our experience so far has translated into additional customers.
Being listed on the stock exchange allows us a certain prestige. It also speaks to accountability and transparency.
Our transparency has allowed us to access credit easier and at better rates.
We have expanded in terms of our customer base, in terms of our suppliers.
All the fears I had about banks, about losing control, you are having them. And I tell you, they were dissipated when I spoke to the Jamaica Stock Exchange.
So if you're a private company thinking about growing your profits, having better access to capital, I really think you should consider listing on the junior or the main market.
You may have fears in listing on the main market or the junior market of the Jamaica Stock Exchange. Whatever those fears are, we can help you to allay them. Give us a call today. Our friendly professional staff will help you through the process. Let us have that conversation. Give us that call.
Go ahead, have that conversation as soon as possible. We did it and we're very happy.
Make that call now.
You will be glad you did.
Alphabet down 6, Microsoft down 5.
Welcome back. We go now to news from across the region. Trinidad and Tobago's iconic rum and bitters producer Angostura Holdings Limited is facing a leadership vacuum after the entire board of directors tendered their resignations this week under mounting political pressure. It is reported that the 3 remaining directors, Dr. Miriam Abdul Richards, Gerard Cooper, and Tricia Coulsell, resigned on Tuesday. They were later followed by Dr. Sterling Frost, Franca Costello, and Chairman Terence Barrath, bringing a dramatic end to the tenure of the outgoing board. The resignations come amid calls from Prime Minister Kamla Persad-Bissessar for directors of state boards and to step down following the change in government. When questioned by journalists on the matter during a press conference on Thursday, this is what Prime Minister Persad-Bissessar had to say.
In light of the eventual resignations of directors on the Angostura board, has the government consulted or engaged with the CL Financial shareholders with respect to appointment of new directors at Angostura and by extension PICO
I think,
perhaps HCL boards?
Yeah, I think the Minister of Finance is in talks with the various stakeholders of those entities.
Prime Minister of Trinidad and Tobago, Kamla Prasad Bissessa. Despite the governance turmoil, Angostura remains financially strong. In April, the company reported a $144.26 million profit for the year ended December 31, 2024, down slightly from $151.98 million in 2023. It also recorded over $1.06 billion in revenues, marking its third consecutive year surpassing the billion-dollar milestone. Guyana is on track to generate approximately $10 billion annually, around Guyanese $2 trillion from royalties and its share of oil profits by the end of this decade, according to ExxonMobil Guyana Limited Vice President John Colling. Speaking at a press engagement on Tuesday, Collins says the country's oil revenues are expected to climb sharply as production in the prolific Stabroek Block accelerates and as the consortium led by ExxonMobil recovers a larger portion of its initial investment.
And as we move forward into the future, once all of those development costs have been recovered, a larger component of the revenues will be available for profit oil for splitting between ExxonMobil Guyana Limited and its partners and the government of Guyana. In addition, the revenues, the overall size of the revenues will increase as more production comes online. As I mentioned previously, the government of Guyana received $2.6 US dollars in 2024. That's up from $1.6 billion US dollars in 2023. And by the end of the decade, particularly once costs have been recovered, we expect the government of Guyana to receive $10 billion US dollars a year.
ExxonMobil Guyana Limited Vice President John Colling. And the Bahamas government is pressing ahead with plans to overhaul its national tax system as part of a broader drive to modernize public services and support economic growth. Prime Minister Philip Davis made the announcement on Wednesday during his contribution to the 2025-2026 budget debate in the House of Assembly. He says the new digital tax platform called One Tax Bahamas will go live in January 2026 and is designed to simplify tax compliance for both individuals and businesses.
Next fiscal year, we will continue to make meaningful progress with what I call the One Tax Bahamas, our effort to build a simpler, smarter, and more transparent tax system. This will be ready in January 2026 to incorporate the domestic minimum top-up tax that is now in force. We are developing a more digital platform so that individuals and businesses can register, file, and pay taxes online with no more long lines or piles of paperwork. To date, we have designed a foundation for a secure and user-friendly tax system, began development of a new taxpayer registration portal and website, drafted robust data protection and privacy policies, which will include provisions to address issues of cybercrime and wrongful use of artificial intelligence, AI.
Prime Minister Davis says the full system is expected to be completed by March 2027, with the development aligned to international standards.
To stay on schedule, we have made several key strategic decisions, including using a cloud-based solution to prevent delays and to ensure the system is ready by March 2027. We continue to work hand in hand with our partners to meet international standards and deliver a tax system that works for the Bahamian people.
Prime Minister of the Bahamas, Philip Davis. And from the Bahamas, we go to trading news from the Trinidad and Tobago Stock Exchange. 18 securities traded on the TTSE Friday, of which 3 advanced, 6 declined, and 9 traded firm. Today's winners were Trinidad Cement, First Citizens Group Financial Holdings, and National Enterprises, while leading the losers were Scotiabank TNT, Massey Holdings, Grace Kennedy, and Trinidad and Tobago NGL. Other results of the day include the All TNT Index declining by 1.28 to close at 1,520.28. The Composite Index declining by 0.97 to close at 1,033.90. And the Cross-Listed Index also declined, but by 0.09 to close at 71.87. And still remaining at 91.81 is the SME Index. And we take a short break, but please stay with us. The international news segment with Nielsen Rose is up next.
Alphabet down 6, Microsoft down 5. Alphabet down 6, Microsoft down 5.
Welcome back, and thanks for staying with us. In the international news today, average hourly earnings for all employees on U.S. private non-farm payrolls rose by 15 cents or 0.4% to $36.24 in May, marking the largest monthly increase since January and outpacing market expectations of a 0.3% rise. This follows a 0.2% gain in April. Wages for private sector production and non-supervisory employees also climbed 0.4% to $31.18. On an annual basis, average hourly earnings increased by 3.9%, matching April's revised figure and exceeding the forecasted 3.7%, signaling continued strength in wage growth despite broader signs of labor market cooling. Non-farm payrolls expanded by 139,000 in May, slightly above the 130,000 forecast, but down from April's downwardly revised 147,000. Job gains were concentrated in healthcare, 62,000, particularly in hospitals and ambulatory services, leisure and hospitality, 48,000, and social assistance, 16,000. However, federal government employment declined by 22,000, continuing a downward trend that has seen a loss of 59,000 jobs since January. Manufacturing also shed 8,000 jobs. Revision to March and April figures reduced total employment gains over those months by 95,000, reinforcing the narrative of a gradually slowing labor market. Analysts caution that recent policy shifts on the Trump administration may exert further downward pressure on employment in the coming months. The Eurozone economy expanded by 0.6% in Q1, doubling the initial estimate of 0.3% and marking the region's fastest growth since the third quarter of 2022. The surge was largely driven by Ireland's remarkable 9.7% GDP jump and a stronger than expected performance from Germany. Among the bloc's major economies, Spain and Germany led with growth rates of 0.6% and 0.4% respectively. Italy followed with a 0.3% increase, while France and the Netherlands posted modest gains of 0.1% each. On the expenditure side, fixed investment rose sharply by 1.8%, up from 0.7% in Q4 2024. Household consumption growth slowed to 0.2% from 0.5%, and government spending remained flat after a 0.4% rise in the previous quarter. Net trade added 0.1 percentage points to GDP as exports outpaced imports, while inventory added reductions, subtracted 0.1 point. The FAO Food Price Index declined by 0.8% to 127.7 points in May, down from a revised 128.7 in April, the highest level since February 2023. The drop was driven by broad-based declines across key food categories, particularly cereals and vegetable oils. Cereal prices fell 1.8%, reaching their lowest level since September 2020. The decline was led by maize, pressured by strong global competition and increased seasonal supply from harvests in Argentina and Brazil. Prices for sorghum, barley, and wheat also traded low. Vegetable oil prices dropped 3.7%, reflecting weaker international quotations for palm, rapeseed, soy, and sunflower oils. Sugar prices declined 2.6% amid concerns over the global economic outlook and its potential impact on demand from the food and beverage industries. In contrast, meat prices rose 1.3%, supported by higher international prices for bovine and ovine and meat and pig meat. In contrast, meat prices rose by 1.3%, supported by higher international prices for bovine, ovine, and pig meat. Dairy prices edged up 0.8%, with butter prices remaining historically high due to strong demand from Asia and the Middle East. The Shanghai Composite edged up 0.4% to close at 3,385 on Friday, while the Shenzhen Component dropped 0.19% to 10,183 as Chinese equities struggled for direction following a high-level call between U.S. President Donald Trump and Chinese President Xi Jinping. The two leaders agreed to continue trade negotiations, easing concerns over the recent rare earths dispute. However, the lack of concrete outcomes kept investor sentiment subdued, with geopolitical tensions expected to remain a lingering concern. Market participants are now turning their focus to China's upcoming inflation and trade data due on Monday, which could provide clearer signals on the country's economic outlook. In corporate moves, Eptalink Technologies rose 2.9%, Avic Changju gained 3.9%, while Shenzhen Forms plunged 7.6%, and Contemporary AmpereX slipped 1%, dragging on the broader market. For the week, the Shanghai Composite advanced 1.13%, and the Shenzhen Component climbed 1.42%. And those were your international business stories. After the break, join Yanil for your recap.
Alphabet down 6, Microsoft down 5.
Welcome back, and now the recap. Fosrich partners with leading financial institutions to offer green energy solutions to manufacturers. And the TAJ targets delinquent property owners in special enforcement drive. In regional business news, leadership crisis at Angostura Limited as the entire board resigns. And the Bahamas government to launch modern digital tax system in 2026. And internationally, Eurozone growth doubles forecast to 0.6% in Q1, and FAO reports global food prices fell 0.8% in May. Those were the stories making today's CBX Evening News. On behalf of Nielsen Rose and the entire production team, I'm Yanil Wood. wishing for you a wonderful weekend, and thank you for joining us.
Hi, I'm Gabrielle Grant Gilpin-Hudson, attorney at law and partner in the law firm Grant, Henry & Rooms. I'm also a realtor and first vice president of the Realtors Association of Jamaica. You're watching CBX, your region, your business, your source.
You're watching CBX Caribbean Business Exchange, your region, your business, your source.